All right, we are live. Hey guys, welcome to another Wednesday night watch chat, our new day and time. Actually, we kind of started it last week, but we will be consistently here on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for joining us, and I have our esteemed crew here joining as well. Special guest Wolfgang. Anytime he's in the Western Hemisphere, we have to have him on.
Thank
Um,
you.
he's a fan favorite. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you. Still
Good, good.
enjoying Canada. Few
Yeah.
more days.
A few more days. How long are you staying in Vancouver for?
We leave Saturday. Then
Yeah.
it's on to Sin City.
On to Sin City. Yeah. Las Vegas. No hassle. Hopefully, you'll get in there and you can
Mhm.
start sinning away. That's awesome. I
I
love
hope
it.
so.
Yeah.
Supposedly did everything we needed to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. What do you have on wrist, man?
The Lange today. I only have two
Ooh.
watches with me, one big one and this one.
Very,
Such
very
a
nice.
stunning watch.
It is.
Yeah, when I went to some of the ADs here in town, half of the salespeople were all over it. Can I try it? Good half put it on their wrist.
Were they trying to buy from you?
No, I mean one guy said I think it was in Toronto. He mentioned that they do trade-ins.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess how would that work? I mean, I guess you would have to like send them the box from Europe.
Yeah, I'm not selling any. I mean, I'm selling. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. In the audience, it's 100K
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sales.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for the bargain basement price of 100,000.
Yeah.
Um, very nice, Wolfgang. Thank you for joining us tonight. Amin, my man, how are you?
Rob, good. Long
Yeah,
time no see.
yeah, right.
Good to see you guys. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Um, nice busy day today. Wearing the Portugueser.
very nice. Yeah,
Nice.
we were talking a little bit about that new release of the Portugueser with the small seconds hand last night,
Yep,
and I'm glad to see that you got the Portugueser. Well, you had that on yesterday too, I think,
I
right?
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
great.
rare day that I wear this same watch 2 days in a row.
But when you have a collection like yours, yeah, you want to wear,
I
all
like
your
to cycle
watches.
through a lot.
Yeah,
I,
for
I like
sure.
this.
Cantankerous luxury. How are
Hey
you?
guys, good.
What do you have on wrist tonight, Marcus?
Got the same old, same old. This what I was wearing yesterday is Speedy.
You've been taken by that watch, haven't you?
I like it. Like I mean I'll be sad to see it go when the Ed White comes in,
Yeah.
if it ever does.
So there's no way that they both can stay in your collection at the same time.
No,
Yeah. Is that just a chrono thing, or is it just too many Speedmaster thing?
it looks like the dials look too similar.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hopefully, it fits just as good, the Ed White, as the Speedmaster you have on too, right? Um, I am wearing my love. Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna just hum music when.
Just hum it. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. You have a great humming voice.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
hey, before we get into anything, guys, I have pinned up here on the chat a GoFundMe link for our good friend Blueshirt Buddha, Bruce, who's been having some health issues over the last couple of months, and he could use some help. And I know they hit their goal, but let's and they've gone over it. Let's keep padding that. Medical costs do add up, and so please give what you can. I also will have a link in the description for that, so in the future, if you come back to this stream, you click on that link. So Bruce, I hope you feel better, and I hope you're watching, and I hope you enjoy what we have going on tonight. Let's say hello to the people on the chat, and please let us know what you're wearing. Nefarian's here. I need some Bobby Rolex magic. Sanjay is here as well. Hey, another Bobby. How you doing, man? Is here. Uh, yeah, Wolfgang gave him high 10 before the show. There's Marcus. Dan, how you doing, buddy? Chaz from the Berg. Billy K's here. Jason's here. Clandestine Luxury. B-Dev is also here. Wristwatch Scott. Wristmasters Unite in celebration of the new Yama Kickstarter, the Wristmaster. Yeah. Wilson, how you doing? Amin, do you have something to say?
No,
Okay.
just following along.
Okay. Hobby Bobby's here. Rick, hey Rob, hey everyone. Glad to be back in the USA. Rick was away for a couple of weeks. Good to have you back. Jeffrey Deach, Justin's here. AZ Clayton. Yeah, no more gushy Rolex stories unless it happens organically, which is it's quite possible that can happen at any particular moment in time. Peter C, Caliber is here. Nefarian, I think, yeah, said hello to him. Oh, Money Watches, number 13 on the Yema Westmaster waitlist, boys. Leafs in the house. Is it going to be a good year for the Leafs this year, Marcus?
Probably
You're
not.
hopeful? Okay.
I'm
Fair
pretty
enough.
disappointed with the Jays. I'm not terribly invested in the Leafs this year.
Okay.
They're a
Okay.
soft team.
Raptors.
Soft. Raptors are going to surprise. I
Okay.
think they will make the playoffs and they will not be in the 7, 8, 9, 10 play-in. They will
Yeah.
be at least a 6th seed.
Oh, okay.
You
So
heard
big
it here
year.
first.
Okay. Hot take by Marcus. Riss Ross, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. Sam's here. How are you, Sam? Anish, hey, buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Time Hill's here. Hello. Meznine is here. Ken checking in from Pittsburgh. The Big Wrist, what's up? How are you? And a bunch of, oh, there's Joey B. What is up? Smitten Bobby Legs. Key in the piano music. Okay. All right. Mountain Standard Time. Hello. How are you? And Young Excellencies here. I just skipped them. Sin 856 on rest. I did get your email. Young Excellency was the winner of one of the prizes this past week. So I'll be sending that to you at the end of the week, my friend. Brownie's here wearing the OP39 white today. Very nice. So small after the Panerai. Wow. Yeah. Could imagine. Design, Jason, how are you? Good to see you. And yeah. Now, before we jumped in, I want to just, a couple of our friends in the last couple of days have gotten some watches, and would like to showcase some of the new watches that have joined the group's collection, if you will. So, speaking of Anish is a great supporter of the channel and subscriber, and he was on a waiting list, and he got the call recently too. So we both almost in the same position here, waiting for our call and finally getting the watch of our dreams here. And this is a beautiful example, the Black Dial Explorer 2. So congrats, Anish. It looks great on your wrist. Love the orange GMT hand there. Excellent. Jason over at the Clandestine Luxury YouTube channel has gotten his first Rolex, and what a way to enter Rolex collecting, right? Two-tone Yachtmaster, beautiful watch. Congrats, Jason. This is good stuff, man. Walked into the AD, I think the story was, right? And then they had it there. So
Walked into the AD thinking of something brown, of maybe something with a brown dial.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yep. And of course, our friend Rick getting in the Snoopy 3, the third iteration of this, right? Beautiful Omega. Look at that case back. Awesome. The little Snoopy will rotate through when the chrono's engaged, right? But well done, guys. Congratulations.
3 amazing watches.
3 amazing
Congrats,
watches.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I forgot to put my banners up there. There you go. Wednesday night watch every Wednesday 9 p.m. Having a
Nice.
little fun with Okay. So, recently, our friend Amin here has been toying with the idea of getting a birth year watch. Maybe serious, maybe not so serious about it. Thinking about it, you've had a birth year watch in your collection before, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the reason why I bring this up, and I think maybe it's an interesting topic of conversation, is I too have toyed with the idea of getting a birth year watch. I was born in 1973. So we're looking at a watch that's going to be somewhere around 48, 49 years old. Um, but it's definitely something that should be, not taken too lightly either, because you're going vintage. Um, anyway, guys, couple questions here. What would you consider the year of the watch? Would it be the year that it was made? Um, there's possibly, for me in my instance, it could be made in 1972, but sold and the warranty card is signed in 1973. Um, is that a big deal for you guys? Does it have to be made the same year that you were born? Um, I'll put that out there to begin.
To the extent that I care about a birth year, my issue has always been that I like the idea enough to occasionally try to get one, but not so much that I end up spending a lot of money on a really nice one, and then it doesn't stick around because it can't hang with the rest of the collection. But to the extent that I like the idea of a birth year watch, it has to be made in the year that I was born, and I have to feel convinced of that. So with Seiko's, for example, the first digit of the serial number is the last digit of the year. So if it starts with a 4 and I know it's a 70s watch, then I know it's a 1974 watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, is it? I mean, is this something that most collectors do we care about this? I mean, I know some of us do, some of us don't. Marcus is shaking their head,
We
but
need.
so it's not a big deal for you, Wolfgang and Marcus. It's sort of interesting for Amin and I. I'd like to know what you guys in the chat think.
I thought
Um,
about one thing with the Omega, the tritone. Remember the one? It's discontinued now, but it's still out with the ADs.
mhm,
Yeah.
The Seamaster with the tritone. That's numbered. And I asked my AD if they could get 1970 number.
Mm.
And at the time I asked, it was still available in Switzerland. So if I would do something like that, I'd go that way. A new watch with the number, the birth year number on it. That's more interesting to me than a
mhm.
vintage piece.
I actually looked through what watches were released in my birth year, and then I was seeing whether they were refreshed by the brands, but it was a lot of Cartier BS, so I gave up on that. So yeah, that's as far as I got.
Wolfgang, along those lines, I asked, so Stefan Kettelars makes like 25 watches a year, something like that. I asked for the number 48 because I'll be 48 when I get that watch.
That's even better to
Yeah.
have the number of the year when you get it. That's even
That's
better.
how old I'll be. So he said yes. So I got number 48 coming.
Yeah, that'd be more interesting to me.
I think for sure, like the older we are, first of all, like our options are going to be less, right? Because just there are less and less watches made, or less watches, or maybe not that there were less made, but less that have survived to this point, right? So like if you were born in the 90s, the chances are, if you go like on Chrono 24 and find sort by 1990 to 1999, there's probably hundreds of thousands of watches to choose from, or thousands of watches to choose from, tens of thousands. But if you do between like 70 and 79, or 60 and 69, you're probably gonna not get as many return. I feel like for me in 1973, there's like three brands that always come up. It's either going to be a Seiko, it's going to be an Omega, or every once in a while you'll see like a Bulova or a Rolex, or and a Bulgari. I think Bulova more so. So the options aren't that great, and I think Wilson has a good point. Is it is it just an excuse to buy another watch for me? So then I got to check my motives with that. And I think I romanticize the idea of getting a great birth year watch, but chances are, if I do find something that I like, I probably wouldn't wear it a lot.
I think a lot of us like challenges too. You know, the challenge of getting the Rolex we want, the challenge of finding a 48-year-old watch that's really in super great condition that is a cool watch, or whatever kind of challenge. The hunt, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of hunt.
Yeah, I
Like,
could see that.
there's some nice Hoyers from the early 70s, I think. They're
Yeah,
okay.
I think you're probably right about that. But when I look it up, and I haven't looked it up on Chrono, because then I'll drill down to like 1973, right? Yeah, I don't recall seeing a lot of. I see a lot of Omega Geneves, some Constellations, and I'll see a ton of Seiko, but nothing that's like super interesting. And do I want to touch a Rolex that's 48 years old? I mean, it might be in great shape, but like, what, are there parts in there that are that have been switched out? Is it a Franken Rolex?
Then do you want to touch an Omega that's 48 years old?
Again, you're absolutely right. Do I want to touch anything that's 48 years old other than myself? Right. That was a bad joke.
If you had a really pristine Pogue or a pristine Willard, I think those would be cool watches from that era.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what I would go for. If I would get it from a completely reliable source with a warranty and not too expensive, I might pick one up. But I'm not looking,
Yeah.
Would have to be coincidence.
Every once in a while, I'll go on eBay and put in 1974 watch, and you have to sift through a lot of garbage, like real garbage, to try to find some candidates in there.
Old Money saying here, did the same, looked up a birth year watches. You know what's good in 1980s watch? Nothing. This is the era of hairbands, spandex, and fluorescent plastic. FMD. Yeah. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of great hairbands in the 80s. Give you that much. Spandex wasn't that much fun. I gotta tell you, the guy with skinny legs, spandex never really worked for me.
I went out wearing makeup in the mid 80s, so that tells.
Yeah, we all saw that, Wolfgang.
Well, that was for carnival, but I'm talking like not carnival time. We had a phase, probably end of 80s.
Yeah.
No pictures, thank God, no pictures exist, I think.
Did you wear eyeliner?
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
put that on the painful on the inside. I mean, I'm sure it was pretty, but
Random Rob with Grand Seiko's the best. Hi. Let's see here.
Sanjay set him straight.
Yeah, he did.
Put the fear in him.
Yeah. Response, I'd rather just use a big birthday to validate an expensive watch buy. Right. So like, maybe I just give up on the whole idea of the birth year watch and just focus on my 50th in less than 2 years, right?
That makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I could bend my logic to think that way for sure. Random Rob agreed with Ross. There you go. MJ, I've yet to find a watch from 1968 that really appeals to me.
Yeah, that's another problem there. Most of the ones in my age, too small. I'm not gonna wear it.
Joe's would be happy with a Zenith Sub-C or Rolex Root Beer from 1977. Rob does not care for watches.
Like if Zenith re-released the Sub-C, like that would be a good buy for YoEB. Like,
Well, maybe this is something to that goes with Mountain Sandtime's point here. Buy a modern watch that was originally made in your birth year.
And we had someone on the Maso group. He bought a GP Laureato because it's a modern interpretation of the watch that was released in its birth year. So I think that's something that's where I would lean towards.
If the re-release, like there was a Tissot 1973, like they called it it was a re-release. They called it the Tissot 1973. if there was a re-release I liked a lot and it had the number in it, that would definitely work for me. I just want that number in there somewhere.
That joke was way underrated. Thanks, man. Thanks for the support here. Appreciate it. Yeah, Covenant. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go back to the chat. Mount Sinai he found a Pogue with his birth year watch. I think that's a very popular mid to late 70s watch. There are a lot of Pogues for sure out there. Again, finding one that hasn't been mangled or rebuilt or whatnot, whatever is important to you, is the hard part. Parachute pants were awesome. Agreed. But they should stay in the 80s. Wolfgang was a punk rocker.
No heavy metal.
No, oh man.
You're saying you were heavy metal, or
yeah, heavy metal.
You were. Oh, you were. Okay.
What's black metal? Slayer and Venom. Remember that?
Oh yeah, man. I love Slayer. My favorite band.
Went to Metallica concert.
Awesome. Dan, birth year watch is an excuse to buy another watch. Yeah, that seems to be like a common consensus here too. That's just another excuse, and probably so. Hey, listen, let's switch it up a little bit now. All right, birth year watches. Unless anybody else has something else to say about birth year watches, we'll jump on to the next topic. Marcus, this is where you come in.
Yeah, I've been holding in a lot of anger this week. First, you saw that jabroni Nico released that ridiculous pyramid, and then I saw this Instagram post, a blog to watch, where Ariel Adams, someone who I really respect, he was talking about an interview with Undone, and he was talking about how they're fun watches, like they're stupid capsule watches or fun watches, and I was like, really, like you can't use fun as a euphemism for releasing a shitter watch. So I decided to go ahead and make my own way to judge watches. So I've got this here. So this is my buying decision tree. So we've got on the y-axis, we've got like how horologically interesting something is. And that's a function of innovation, finishing, complications, and aesthetics. And then you've got on the bottom toxicity. So toxicity is a function of MSRP, how much of a discount you can get, and obviously depreciation. So I think when we're looking to buy watches, we've kind of got to look at which zone a specific watch is. So you've got zone. So we've basically got what I like to call the Sabbat Pluta line, where as the toxicity increases, the horological increases has to increase. And if you're above the Sabbat Pluta line, you're in zone A, and then you don't want to be in zone B. And then of course there's the Nomos Meridian, where regardless of how expensive, how much more expensive the watch gets, it's still the same horological level of interest, even as the toxicity increases.
I think it goes down. I think it should slant downward a little bit as it goes to the right.
Maybe. And then obviously the area under the curve of the Nomos Meridian is micro brand land. So
yes,
that's what we got. So I thought that we'd use this chart and discuss watches that we're thinking about and figure out where they are. Are they in kind of in zone A, zone B, or in micro brand land, and where within each zone they are. So that's why this is how I'm going to be judging watches going forward.
And I just want to clarify, because if I understand this figure correctly, the Sabbat Pluta line is actually a function of that line. Doesn't mean that Sabbat is zone A or zone B.
No, yeah, it's a function of that line. That's the divider. That's the divider, right?
Because it's actually a function of that line.
Because probably Pluta is up in here, and then Sabbat's up in here.
Thank you.
And so that's just where we're kind of going.
Very
there.
kind.
That's why we got the Sabbat Pluta line.
Much appreciated.
Wonderful chart. Let's go through the chat first before we maybe throw in and talk about some watches that we're considering and how it fits in to this beautiful chart that you made, Marcus. Wonderful chart here by Nefarian, Dr. Marcus, complete with charts. We don't fool around here on Wednesday Night Watch Chat.
That looks almost exactly like the graph I drew for my wife when we started dating and she asked me if we were moving towards marriage. I drew a graph just like that.
It's a very popular graph formation for sure.
Yeah.
It was not a happy day in our relationship.
Marcus being in Tom Brady category here, the GOAT, fasten seatbelts. Marcus sits upside down. I think Wilson was just pulling her leg here. Nomus Meridian, LOL. He is serious. I'm dying. LOL toxicity concluded. Well, we got to this, Nefarian. Yep. This is the greatest thing I've seen in a stream in a long time. This segment, awesome. That is a super clean regression, Marcus. Mountain Standard Time, a little disappointed. He was told there was be no math. Love the chart. This is remarkable. Genius. Sideways laughy face. Oh boy, yeah. So okay, so is Rolex on the marriage graph? Where is Rolex in the marriage graph?
Oh, in this graph, I think Rolex it's kind of, I would say in this triangle right here. Like you're where you want to be, but it's limited in terms of how horologically interesting. So it's definitely in the low toxicity range, but it's also they're kind of it's got a glass ceiling in terms of how horologically interesting they can be.
Oil Money bringing up Parmigiani. This is what the graph is made for.
Yeah, so we have to figure out where Parmigiani goes.
Like brands like Parmigiani, like Gerard Perregaux, this is what this is made for, and this will hopefully answer some of the tough questions that we ask ourselves about these brands and whether we should put down our hard-earned money for something that's going to be potentially extremely toxic, and we'll still do it anyway. But what say you guys?
And it's important. Marcus makes an important point that Rolex occupies a territory, a three-dimensional range, not two-dimensional. That you can't say Parmigiani is a dot on that figure, right? It's going to depend on which Parmigiani, and it's going to be a section of that figure. So we'll take the hard questions here, but they may have complicated answers.
Yeah. So let's start. I mean, can we further? I mean, are we done with Parmigiani, or should we actually just talk about this as an example, as an exercise here, using this chart? Do we have to go via through some models of the Parmigiani, like the Pershing? Like, where is the Pershing going to finish that?
The Pershing with it. The Pershing is clearly like kind of down here.
Yeah,
I would say. Like way down here. Like it's super toxic and it's not that horologically interesting.
Right.
Like the Pershing is literally the ugliest Parmigiani in the history of Parmigiani. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very brutal. Okay. All right. So that's yeah. Sorry, Amin, go ahead.
Where's the new Tonda chronograph? The Tonda PF chronograph.
I'm biased, so I'm gonna go here. Like kind of right in here.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm just gonna go, just to the left of the Pluto Sabbat line, but it's close. It's a close call.
Before we answer other brands, okay. So
just let me clarify so that I understand it too. My Nomos is definitely where we are not supposed to go.
Yeah, it's a meridian. It's a meridian.
In zone B all the way at the end.
Well, no, like yours is not too bad. So yours might actually be, it's not that toxic, but it's not that interesting. But again, it's probably like
in zone B.
Yeah.
I would argue, if I could argue,
probably right at that angle, like kind of in here. So it's not too bad, right? Because you don't want to be way out over here.
I'm gonna make an argument. Can we go Marcus Solo here for a minute?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Whenever need
Okay.
be, just let me know.
Okay. If money is not an object, then you'd rather be high in zone B than low in zone A. In other words, zone A is not necessarily superior to zone B, right? Because if you're in low in zone A, then you're doing okay for your money, but you got a low horological interest watch. Whereas if you're high in zone B, you're kind of you might be toxic, but you've got a banging watch.
I think Amin makes a very good point, and again, that's why we have the Pluto Sabbat line.
Marcus, in your professional opinion, please keep the chart up. Where does Amin's UN calendar fit?
I would say it's kind of in here.
Okay.
But that has to be. I think I'm starting to get it. But that UN has to be in zone A, where we want to be. We said we need to be in zone A.
No, that's where I'm arguing, Wolfgang. Zone A is not necessarily better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I
So we
mean,
can
I
be
don't
in
think
zone
it's.
B.
I don't think its horological interest is, positively proportionate to its toxicity. So it's really interesting, but again, it's also very, very toxic.
Okay. I wish I was more prepared for this. I would have had a split screen here with the chart. Next time when we do this exercise, I foresee this as a reoccurring segment that we can. I'll split screen and add the chart. We'll scan it, Marcus. Your
Yeah.
people will work with my people. But
Yeah,
just
we'll see it.
let's for argument's sake, let's do a couple more from the chat here. Let's get your professional expertise, your opinion, using your hard work here to come up with this fantastic graph. You spent a lot of time with this. Let's keep it going here. So, Riss Ross, where's Ketelars?
Where's Ketelars? That's a very good question. I don't think Ketelars is toxic at all. I honestly don't. So I've got them squarely up in kind of in this area here. So it's not that toxic. I think it's moderately horologically interesting, and I think it's north of kind of this Rolex Bermuda Triangle here.
Okay, keep it up there. A couple more. Sorry, Marcus. Nefarian. Okay, where is Laurent Ferrier?
Laurent Ferrier.
Right
I
on
would
the
say
line, right on the Sabbath Pluto line, but
right
way
on,
upper right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of it. I think it's probably trending towards zone B, but it's probably right on the line.
Yeah.
Tudor Fast Rider.
Tudor Fast Rider. It's kind of in this area here. It's got a DD. It's got a DD module, a chronograph. It's kind of ceramic, but it's not. There's nothing horologically interesting about it. So I've kind of got it kind of in this area here.
We could probably throw the BB41 in there too, right? Around that same range.
Yeah.
How about a Dwiss Wandering Hours?
Oh, it's in the that's in microbrand land. That's just basically a microbrand credit, right?
Yeah, we definitely don't want to be in there. I got that one.
Okay, Marcus, you could bring it down. I think now that most of us know, have committed to memory where the graph is. If something's come up, we can do. Wilson, he's saying Nomos is in the back of the page.
No.
Good question. Yeah. Marcus, where does a watch need to be for you to buy the watch? Good question, Time Hell.
Marcus is being pulled in a direction on that graph. If you plot his past purchases and where his heart is taking him, he's showing some rightward migration, some rightward migration on that chart.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure. I'm all over the place right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get. I think I'm willing to be in zone B if I can get it for the right price. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If you get a zone B watch at just a crazy good price, does that move it to zone A, or is it still a zone B watch, but you just got it for a crazy good price?
It has to move to A. It loses toxicity.
That's kind of how I try to buy my toxic
Yeah.
watches, right? To find them at
Yeah.
at
I hadn't
at
thought about that.
super good
This
prices.
maybe this doesn't capture everything.
I
Well, I
think if
think
you,
it's a good start.
it's a
for sure.
very
Yeah.
good start. If you get, I think this chart assumes that you're getting the average buying price on a watch.
Yeah.
But if you get a Parmigiani Kalpa hebdomadaire for like $500, then it has to go to Zone A.
Yeah, that's definitely Zone A.
Yeah.
That's no longer toxic, because no matter how well you sell it, no matter how poorly you sell it, you're still going to make money.
Rich Ross, there's Nomos, and then there's Director's Cut Audubon. Chaz, how much for a laminated Marcus G watch toxicity chart?
I feel like I should scan this, and then Rob should somehow like improve like
we could do
the
that.
graphics.
Yeah.
And then it should just be a Yobby Yegs like merchandise.
Where's
okay with that.
where's UN on your chart?
UN is clearly Zone B.
Zone B.
It's
Where
Zone
if
B.
you circle how much of Zone B UN covers?
Oh my goodness!
If you take in all of UN,
you could go. I'd argue it's almost the whole line. Like it just kind of it's kind of that, because I think even their modified Solitas, they do have, they are interesting, because again they do heavily modify the Solitas, but again they're still pretty toxic. But probably I would almost run them parallel along the Sabbath Pluto line.
the amount of area they cover is
very
extensive.
large. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because again they have Solitas, and then they have the Freak, they have the Cathedral Sonata. So.
Dude Hank, just logged in and have no idea what's going on, but feel like I should have brought a calculator or a drink. Yeah. This is a great conversation. The chart is so much more fun. Thank you, Marcus.
So what brand would take up most of the space on the whole thing? What brand can cover it all?
Paddock.
Yeah.
Paddock and probably AP, because AP has got some decidedly Zone B watches.
I think microbrand land needs a big revision. I think it should look. I wish I had okay. I'm gonna have to.
This can be a living document. I have no problems with that.
All right. So if I,
I gotta zoom in here.
if this is my chart, right? I think microbrand has to be more like this, because something like that, because at the far left side they can't be in Zone A, right? There's no reason why cheap microbrands should
I cut them off. I cut them off.
Oh, you started them at the Meridian?
Yeah, I started them at the Meridian.
Or at the line. You started them at the Sabbath Pluto line. Okay.
Because almost nothing has zero toxicity, right? And again, nothing has zero horological interest.
I see.
Unless you're talking about like, an undone.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I gotcha. It just feels like you're almost putting them all in the same bucket, and they should have. But yeah, there's some room down in microbrand land for better or worse, right? So yeah, I take it back.
Stova,
that's a good question. I like Stova. I'm probably going to rate it higher than it probably deserves. I think it's kind of Stova might kind of be in this kind of group with that area there.
Slightly above the Pluto line.
Yeah. I think Stova is a fun buy. It retains value well. There's a really strong following, and it's not too much of an outlay for the money. The finishing's pretty good, and you've got a solid 6497. I love the 6497. So,
Quorum Privateer is heavily Zone B. Look, guys, we have so many good suggestions here. I'm sorry I can't get to all of them, but I'm trying my best here. The chat is really active right now. There is a test at the end. There is. Mr. Casio, Omega has toxic Zone B complement and some high complication.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Justin, thank you. This whole series, no, thank you so much. Um, so living document, I suggest we revisit it, Marcus. Send that over to me. Well, I'll Photoshop it. I'll do whatever I can, and make it something that we can have like presented on the chat at the same time. Somehow we'll figure something out. And then maybe we'll get fancy with it. You could plot your own lines, and see
Yeah.
where your collection fits in. But this is a great start. You're brilliant, Marcus. Thank you so much. Um, let's move on. Um, okay, so another conversation I was having with Amin was the whole idea of flex watches. Now, Amin, you had an interesting take, or a few questions about what are flex watches and why do they exist. Do you want to kick it off for us?
Yeah, it's been a little bit hard to articulate, but we hear sometimes, just even amongst our friends, somebody will get a watch, often a hype watch, and somebody will say, "Oh, that's a big flex that they got that," or that somebody will say that's an FU watch, and um, it just seems like a very strange um, concept. Like, for one thing, I don't see a correlation between like FU watches and somebody's wealth, let's say, necessarily, right? Like for example, I've been spending probably a little bit of time on Archie Luxury lately, and you see people talk a lot there about FU watches, and like these are not super wealthy people. These are people who are just like, in many cases, borrowing money to get whatever, a gold
Yeah.
Rolex or something like that. Like it just, there's nothing very impressive about it. I just think it's a very strange concept. It's just like kind of like watching an alien species when I hear this language. So
Actually, ironically, the FU watch is a toxic watch. Like a true FU watch is someone who can go out and buy that Parmigiani like split second platinum chronograph. Like that's an FU watch to me.
that to me is more impressive, right? And
Yeah.
so I guess what people call FU watches or flex watches, they don't seem that impressive. Not that a watch should be impressive, period. But if the
Yeah.
idea is like, I really don't give a crap, right? Like, I don't know, somebody like Robert Downey Jr. or something wearing some, I would think that the super toxic watch would be a little more of a statement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I when I think of like an FU watch or a flex watch, you know, I think of something that's could be seen as obnoxious, right? And so to me, like a platinum day date, beautiful watch on its own, but could some people may consider that as an FU watch or a total flex watch. And that's what I when I think about it, right?
Like it, but what again? The people I see with that, at least in our little YouTube circles, people like, I've never watched a timepiece gentleman, but it
Mhm,
wouldn't surprise me one bit to see a timepiece gentleman wearing that kind of watch.
mhm.
And that guy is the opposite of wealthy, right? He's like, he's trying to be an influencer, trying to show something really fancy on his wrist. Um, but there's nothing fu about that to me. It's more like I took my savings and like borrowed this and put that on my wrist for a while. It's like whatever, you know.
But
I
I
don't.
could also see that same watch on the wrist of. I always get these guys confused, the timepiece gentleman and the guy out of Austin that had that big snafu with his channel a couple months ago. Um, what's his name? The gray market dealer guy from Texas. Um, that was a whole big deal in YouTube a couple months ago.
I don't know who that is.
It's timeless. It was also another like timepiece or timeless gentleman or whatnot. Anyway, that guy, right? Um, fairly new to the selling game. Wanted yeah timepiece gentleman wanted to get a Netflix series. That guy.
That's what I'm
Um,
talking about.
are you talking about? Oh, I thought you were talking about Ocean,
No,
the guy
no,
in Italy.
no,
Okay,
no,
okay, my
no.
bad.
Ocean. He doesn't seem
He's
to.
timeless luxury. What's his channel again?
Oh,
I get the two of them confused.
I don't know, but I was talking about Timepiece Gentleman,
Okay,
right?
okay, my
Like
bad.
he's somebody who I see would wear FU watch, but like he's not. I don't get it. Anyway, the whole this concept of like wow flex watch, wow great FU watch, I think it's very strange. So just like a bring the chart back out.
Yeah. Well, that segment's so Wolfie.
I agree with Marcus, really. And Rick asked the question that is an FU watch the same as a flex watch? And I don't think in our circles, or to me, it's completely different. An FU watch is what Marcus said, is somebody buying $1 million Breguet watch that's worth 150,000 after he put it on the wrist. That's completely, I don't care what anybody thinks, and I have the money, and I don't care if my watch gains a cent or loses all of it. I'm buying it just because I want.
I totally agree with the two of you that's what I think
money.
That's what an FU watch is. But that's not what people call FU watches.
I know, but it's kind of like what
That-
Rick was saying, and
That
that's
makes
what
sense.
it is to me.
That makes sense.
A flex watch is basically nowadays anything that's hard to get, and that doesn't mean anything. That could be borrowed money. That could be on credit. That could be overly indebted people that just want to show off.
That was, I guess, better articulates what I'm trying to say, is that what we call flex watches actually have no meaning. When we actually see who's getting them and how they're getting them, we have enough insight into all these people to see that it means nothing. It has no meaning.
To me, it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
If I see anybody, it's probably my own fault, I shouldn't do it. But if I see someone out on the street with an Nautilus now, the first thing I think, but that's just me and my fault, what an idiot, he paid $100K for a steel Nautilus.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course I don't know, but that's the first thought in my head. To me, it's a negative thing.
Yeah.
And so there's no flex, it's the opposite of flex.
Or you see a certain watch and you think, okay, maybe this is a way that this person's choosing to invest, right? But there's nothing flexy about investment. Absolutely. Like we all invest. I don't tell you like, this is what my investment did yesterday. That's not a flex.
No, I mean, I'm to me, or maybe some of us, and to me, definitely the FU type watches, that's the flex to me. But, in our small circle, because we have the knowledge, we can identify that this is a highly toxic watch.
Right.
The person that bought it must not care at all about money value, in his hobby.
Yeah.
That's a flex to me.
Yeah.
The only flex really I can think about, nothing else.
Anybody who buys any of these new Parmigianis in a boutique is a little bit of a flex to me.
I mean, there's tons of examples. If you go, most of us probably, and I hardly ever do, but if you go on any of these websites, Blancpain, Breguet, Parmigiani, GP, there's very expensive watches on there.
Yeah.
That makes you wonder, are they selling 2 or 3 a year, or are they selling none? But they exist.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah.
And so if there's a customer for that, and if I would ever meet one of those, I'd like to talk to that person.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Clean sums it up nicely here too as well. He says to some it may be a flex, to others they are collectors and it's part of their journey. Attitude defines it more than anything. Yeah, I mean, like if you have that $100,000 Nautilus and you jump into a Honda Accord,
it's all fine. It's just not a flex.
Like so an example of that, Wilson recently got the Sky Dweller. He's like the last person to flex. Like he's super he's just a great down to earth person. who got an awesome watch, right? But there are other people who see that as like, flex,
Yeah.
that they're flexing or something.
And I mean, that's the same with Rick, right? Rick's got an awesome collection.
Yep.
There are people who have almost identical collection to Rick, and their attitude is, I think they're insufferable a-holes, and I
Yep.
don't even follow them on
I blocked them.
anything. I block them, right? So
Right.
it's all about context. It's all about attitude. It's all about how you interact with others in the community.
Yep.
Yeah, Baltic Micro Rotor is the ultimate flex. Person who buys it must not care anything about especially quality watches.
That ties together the past two topics nicely, because if you bought a Baltic Micro Rotor for over $2,000 on eBay because they sold out, you're both record-setting Zone B, and also that's got to be some kind of FU money.
Yeah.
A flex watch is dynamic. In this group, you could flex on Amin with a quadruple guilloche jobber. All right. Flex lose my interest in 0 seconds. Flexors lose my interest in 0. Hey, but you know what though? Like, I gotta tell you, when I'm on Instagram, right, and that's like the mecca for flexing watches, right? You definitely. I mean, I could tell by some of the people that I follow, who are collectors, who are serious collectors, who have some of these, what we would call, in some instances, would be considered a flex watch, but it's not a flex watch for them. And then there's some people who are on there who are just totally flexing. And there is part of me, there is an appeal to seeing that. I don't know. I just like kind of like it's almost like kind of like watching a train wreck about to happen or a car wreck about to happen, and so I get some sick satisfaction. Yeah. You guys want me to talk about my Submariner? Cue the music. Anyway, let's move on to our final segment. I'm going to try something new here, and we're going to pop up some deals of the week, or some watches that we found interesting that are for sale, and share them with you guys, and see what you think, and if you guys have spotted anything as well, please let us know. I think this would be a fun little exercise here. Let me share my screen, and Amin, I think we're gonna go with one watch that you submitted here. Can you guys see my screen?
That's a great price.
Yeah. So this is a brand new box and papers, AD stamped Arnold and Son steel dress watch, 40 millimeters for $5,000. It's half of retail. It has a Le Jouperet movement that's proprietary to this watch. It's a very thin watch. It's got an 80-hour power reserve, dual barrels, hand finish movement, better finishing than a Moser hand winding movement, I would say, or in some ways, in some aspects, certainly the anglage. And I just think it punches above its weight. And for this price, I'm tempted by it. I think that it's a great dress watch. I had it in white, and you can put it under a loop, and the indices and the hands are brushed on one side, polished on the other. It gives it a really nice impact. I think the rhodium looks great.
Yeah, I was surprised I was shocked when you sold yours.
Yeah.
To be honest. That was like what, 2019?
Yeah.
That was a good watch. But I think you sold it for the World Time, right?
Did I? No, I sold it. I sold it for the. I traded this and the Pepsi for the UN.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is amazing.
Beautiful watch for sure.
This is maybe the craziest thing I've ever seen, money-wise, for what you get.
And steel, I mean, it's just holds up great. I mean, this is like a real dress watch that you can wear anytime, all the time, dress it up, dress it down, not worry about it.
80-hour power reserve.
It's a true pleasure to wind. The anglage is hand executed. It doesn't have, interior angles, sharp exterior angles, but it's still rounded, mirrored anglage. It's beautiful.
Chart question. Where is it on the chart?
At this price, I would put it, on the Sabit Pluta line, and moderate horological interest.
Okay, excellent. So good looking watch, great price for sure.
I think you should get it.
Buy it.
I think you should get it, Amin.
No question.
I think you should do it.
We'll see.
Okay, so moving on. I know you have another one, Amin. So let's just alternate here. So I've been looking at IWC Ingenieurs for a little while here, and I think it's because I'm really interested in this Genta like design, or this is actually a Genta design. He in the early 70s he did a redesign of the Ingenieur, and it's one of my favorite ones that are Genta design. I love the Girard Perregaux Laureato as well, but that is a Genta influence design. It wasn't designed by Gerald Genta. The Ingenieur, I know it's a big piece. This one's 42.5 millimeters. Some of them are 46. It's probably thick because it's a chrono. The three-hander maybe not as thick, but it's half the price of a Laureato, pre-owned Laureato, and just a fun watch. I just love the integrated bracelet style look here. This one's going for $42.99. There's another one here on chrono that I found here. This one for $39. This is a regular three-hander, a little bit bigger at 46 millimeters case diameter. But I'm used to wearing a Panerai every once in a while, so size does not bother me, especially with this integrated rubber strap here. The lug to lug is probably not going to be as drastic. So it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be mostly all dial here. So for under $3,000, and if you could negotiate a little bit, I think it's a great deal for a very beautiful designed watch. Amin, you also selected a Seiko
This was
here?
no,
This is more of a birth year, though.
This was
right?
a birth year. Yeah, this is one I was looking at, but for birth year. It's a 1974 Seiko flyback chronograph. It's in really great condition, but and I think it's pretty cool looking. It's not huge money, but it's still like you used to be able to get these probably for under $500, and now this is like he's asking like $1,500. So I'm not going to get it, but it's one I was looking at for birth year.
Yep. Excellent. So hopefully we keep this segment going down the road. If you guys come across some interesting deals, please pass them along, and we can feature them in next week's stream. 46 is massive, but it looks like short lugs. I think so. I'm not really 100% sure about the lug to lug on this one, but man, it's a good looking watch.
It is.
Just as a category, it seems like anything that's solid gold between 1995 and 2005 that's not a Rolex
Is a good buy.
Is a good buy. Not a Patek, not a Rolex. Solid gold between 95 and 2005. There's so many good deals out there. GP, Zenith,
even Omega.
Omega.
Who I got.
You could probably find Vacheron and AP as well in that. There's some really good AP dress watches. If you don't mind going a little smaller, I guess.
The Ferrari found the Tonda 1950 7K white gold.
Fantastic.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow. 7K.
Yeah.
There's
guys,
a lot of
oh,
solid
sure.
gold under 10K in that category, and some of it's close to 5.
Yeah, and look, I mean, not too long ago, you could find some pre-Milan Mosers there in that price range, and you still might be able to, you know. Um, so definitely for sure. All right, guys, we're pushing an hour here.
Yeah.
Wolfgang, so you're going to be back stateside at the end of the
Saturday.
at the end of Saturday. How long does it take before you go to look at some watches? I mean, is it almost like as soon as you land, or are you gonna, you know,
In Vegas.
in Vegas, are you gonna take like a day off, or are you gonna hit
Well,
the ADs?
probably on Monday because I have a meeting with a collector friend that's in town for the weekend, and so I said I can do Monday. Sunday is kind of busy for us,
Yeah.
kind of settling in the condo, and so. But it could be Monday. But
I love
lately
it.
it depends on who's coming to town. If I know that some people are coming, I don't go by myself. I wait.
Yeah. Okay.
And it depends, if I'm coming from Austria, it might be sooner. But here in Canada, I did see a lot of things, so I'm calm. I don't need to rush into an AD.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Marcus, you knocked it out of the park with the graph today, man.
I hope that's something we can work on as a community and improve. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Somebody suggested in the chat that we need one a flex and FU chart. That might work.
We definitely got to stop giving attention to these brand ranking shenanigans. Marcus's chart is far superior to these brand ranking lists.
Yeah. Amin, what do you got going on? Got any reviews coming up soon, hopefully?
Maybe. Gonna I believe have the UN back soon. And I'll definitely do some videos with when the other watch is coming in towards later this year.
Excellent. Well, guys, thanks again for joining me tonight, and everybody here on the chat for joining in as well. Please remember Bruce in your thoughts. Hopefully he can have a speedy recovery, and if you want to donate to his cause, GoFundMe link in the description below. And we wish you well, Bruce. And everyone, good night, and we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to check out Sanjay and Watch Soup on Sunday night, and he'll stream also on Saturday, and Amin's Tuesday night watch stream next Tuesday as well. Take care, guys. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
See you, everybody.